Recording, Evio, recording. This is Tesla's patent, high frequency and potential apparatus for producing. This particular motor is sort of a, how do you describe it, kind of a odd looking kind of design here, but it's sort of the cross section of what it looks like. And in around the 80s, I got to know Phil Gaddis. Recording cross-section of a Tesla device actually made by Weston Electrical Machinery. The very top plate of that, if you look very carefully, you see a top plate. That was brass with Weston Electrical on it. I got to know Freddie and Phil Gaddison of Adanac Salvage on Alexander Street in Vancouver, Canada in the 80s. And they secured me this motor, which I'll show in another picture, okay, or dynamo or whatever. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. And Freddie would often talk about that there was an old man that showed up with original Tesla equipment, which is interesting because Thomas Lee Richardson lived in Vancouver and he was close friends with Tesla and wrote a book on him and struck a medallion and published other works, which I have some of them anyway. However, going back to this, Phil Gaddison secured me this piece along with Freddie's story, as well as, well, I'll show you in the other picture here. Again, this is a sort of a cross-section of it, and the end parts are those unique little pieces that are with brushes and that on it. So on that note, I'll go to the next picture. This is a screenshot taken from BCTVs with Alan Edwards, and who filmed in my place a long time ago, in '85, I believe it was, Tony Parsons NewsHour. Now look very carefully at the end here. You see it's got those same kind of brushes. And if you can just make it out, there's a plate on top and it has the two windings on it. So this is original, they used a long time ago. Basically turn of the century or before. It's got brass on it, and you can see the red paint where some of the winding is, or actually the rotor. Now this is what Tesla used in its high-frequency apparatus. Okay, it's you can look it up on my YouTube channel. It running, actually. This is a screenshot of it running. And what Tesla was referring to at the end piece here, the surrogated disc around it, as you can see. Sorry for the bad picture, but that's what it is, okay? Unfortunately, this device was stolen from me in Vancouver when I went to Germany. Never to return, I suppose. But some of the original equipment I got also from Chaos Mod Electrical Machinery, turn of the century electrical equipment. Very interesting stuff. Okay, let's go to the next picture. This is the bottom part of Tesla's patent. Okay, it's got a couple of condensers with a coil arrangement and outer coil, inner coil. This is the device I just showed you. So let's move along to the next picture. This is where the motor was, and you can see in the background some electrical equipment. I standing there being interviewed by Alan Edwards of BCTV NewsHour, with big red, a huge transformer kind of in front of me, but I'm to the side, and a Tesla coil on the other side. This is from BCTV as well. This is a control panel that I had, and I'm down at the bottom there working at various gauges and instrumentation and chart recorders and that kind of stuff. Okay. This is Alan Edwards explaining to me what his camera crew and himself saw floating in the air. I was too busy. I didn't see anything. I was at the control panel. Don't I look charming back then? Oh, good heavens. Here I am standing actually next to a 90 millimeter anti-aircraft gun traverse mechanism which I took the gun apart and took the parts back here. I have no idea where the stuff is now, but as a 19mm anti-aircraft gun at J.P. Fell Armory, 101 Thunderbird Squadron. The guy that took this cannon apart, or tried to, died because of springs that the military said, oh well, they were taken out at the airport. They were not taken out at the airport. They killed a man who was basically welding or not welding, but cutting a retainer pin that held those springs in a tube, 2 tubes to each side of the cannon, okay? Still trying to find my cannon up there in Canada, as well as the newspaper article, but no luck so far. But anyway, that he went around to adjust something on his truck, I guess the cutting torch, and that whole piece broke, flew off, took his head off, hit the armory at J.P. Fell Armory, and he died, unfortunately. And I myself finished the rest of the job taking the cannon apart and taking pieces like this back to my place after permission from Amex Salvage, who didn't want to bother with it and said to me on the phone, you can have it. A sad story in some ways. This is going back to Tesla's patent on that particular device I showed you. You might have to take a screenshot of it. Again, Tesla's patent on that device I showed you, the motor. High frequency. Tesla's patent on that device I showed you. And it did work too. When I fired it up, it worked fine. As seen in the BC TV News Hour too. Well, here's the device itself again. Started with it, and sort of started with it, but unfortunately it's not a clear photo. It's taken off a TV screen and it's got that white fuzzy stuff in the center. But I guess the original video of the News Hour, which I have, would show this up a lot better. Again, there's the serrated pieces that Tesla really liked in the front there, made by Western Electric. Could be 1890s. I don't know the exact date on this piece, but it's a very interesting find, I must say. Okay, I'm gonna go, but I'll upload it tonight.